extraordinaire, the gemologist.
Everyone, and welcome to the Geomologist Presents. I have another from the archives backlog of unboxing mini review thing, and it's not going to be released on a Monday, so I guess there's no more Monday mini review. So this one will be, as you can see by the title and the picture, the Castles and Crusades, I would say Castles and Crusades supplement, because it does use Castles and Crusades rules, Swords and Chaos by Jeremy D. Farkas, and the company that puts this out is Blackspire Fantasy LLC. This is actually the only product they have out right now. A little disappointing because I will get into it in a little bit, but it looks kind of good. I'm very excited about it, but I will get into all the whatabouts as well when I kind of give a mini review. So this episode also has an awesome call-in from Jason Connerly, a call-in from someone we haven't heard in, a call-in from Colin Green, and a call-in from a new listener, Merc the Meek, who has a really cool podcast. I'll put links in the show notes. And his podcast is called, probably Merc the Meek, but I will make sure. His podcast is called Merc the Meek. And he really talks about a lot of nice, cool indie games so far, and the games that he plays, board games and regular games, and just general comments about RPGs, which is really cool, and family games, playing with your family, your RPGs, tabletop RPGs and board games with your family, which I think is great. And there's little snippets of advice and wisdom there. So anyway, let's get on with the show. First up is Jason Connerly.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
Hey, Carl. Just want to say I enjoyed your Elfland review. Thank you for answering my question from back in March. Thank you to Joe for calling in and answering my question my comment, I guess, reference Twilight 2000. By the way, I wasn't suggesting that the players are doing anything wrong or untoward there. It was just a question. But I think from the time I got to play in that game and from following what's been going on since then, all your players doing a great job of role-playing that game. And I'm not saying anybody is doing anything wrong, so I hope that wasn't taken that way. People hear my voice way too much, so hopefully Joe will be able to join you on that show to talk about heroes and anti-heroes. I look forward to listening to that.
Thank you for that call, Jason. I don't think your voice is overheard, and it'd be great to talk to you about anything, honestly. I probably need to get you back on the show. I had a great time doing Mean Guns with you for the year of Albert Pune. I hope you have another one lined up, another director whose movies we can review. It's kind of a cool type of episode on your podcast. I really enjoyed a lot. And this is a really good game. I know when Amy heard Joe's reply and then yours, she's like, she thinks it's really cool that, and I'd probably use the word cool way too much, but she likes the fact that, Joe has a different outlook and disposition than her character, Kasha. I think it makes a really interesting dichotomy in the group, whereas Kasha is always trying to, save the wretched or save the lost cause, as if she were finding lost puppies out in the post-apocalyptic world. Joe's character's on a mission. So I know we're probably we played almost 2.5 years. I know we're coming to a break. We've run through these classic, fantastic sandbox supplements that they put out back in the late 80s for Twilight 2000. And we're coming to a break point where it kind of like the campaign almost diverges, where you have people who are, especially in this game now, where there's more options. In the previous Twilight 2000 first edition, you were pretty much all Americans. But in this one, you can be Americans, Germans from NATO, other allied groups. They had supplements later for that, but initially it wasn't like that. There is even like in the first edition, there's like a London, or not a London. There's like a What Happened in Britain book as well in the old Twilight 2000, I think first and second edition. But anyway, there's a break point where some of the player characters want to go home and see what the hell happened to the U.S. Because there was also limited nuclear engagement. But then there's other players that are from Europe. They're Polish. Why the hell would they want to go to the U.S.? Why would a German want to go and help rebuild the U.S.? Let's stay in Poland and carve out our little haven of happiness as best we can in post-apocalyptic Europe. So I think it's going to be kind of cool. I'm very reluctant to do 2 iterations of a game, but maybe it'll work. Maybe one Tuesday, US, the other Tuesday, Europe. I don't know. Or if the European group is smaller and maybe 2 or 3 players, then we just schedule it another day. It's, I guess, a good problem to have. Maybe not. But it's not like you wouldn't see the same players. I think it's kind of interesting. I know even Joe and both Amy and Joe are like, well, we have characters that could be in both, but it really depends, right? What's the motivation to go to the U.S. for some player characters? Why would they want to go back? It reminds me a little bit of, say, for example, 2 characters in the group, Bronson and Diaz, who are minorities in the U.S. and very similar. Why would they want to go back if the U.S. is this anarchic and almost throwback to the way it was before the civil rights and all that? If the rumors are true, and much like the Harlem Hellfighters, who were treated extremely well in Europe, were heroes in France, heroes in World War I. When they got back to the U.S., they were treated horribly, and especially in the South. But even in the Midwest and stuff like that. And although there was a great parade attended by everyone who saw them as heroes in New York and Harlem, they didn't get for being heroes, they didn't get the welcome that they thought they should have received, or that other veterans maybe received. So, anyway, so a great call. Again, it really makes me think ahead of what I need to be doing in Twilight 2000. And also, I apologize for not getting to your calls from earlier. I guess it got kind of, like I said, it's an archive, got lost sort of in the shuffle. As Spotify for podcasters, formerly Anchors, gets updated often. Things get moved around, and then I lose track of, maybe you do too, lose track of episodes, or almost episodes, drafts of episodes. And I guess I had thrown your calls into that one. But good stuff. I do like, again, I will reiterate, it doesn't always have to be an epic campaign, but I like an epic campaign, and I hope players appreciate an epic campaign, even if they don't know they're in the middle of one. All right, my next caller is someone we haven't heard from for a long time.
Right, Cole, how awesome is that Free League stuff, man? I mean, I love it. I'm so excited that you picked up The Walking Dead and you're talking about that. I'm an absolute fanboy now of Free League. I'm acquiring the stuff like there's no tomorrow, really. Well, by my standards anyway. I feel I've got rid of quite a lot of stuff I don't use. Now there's a little bit of space for some real gems. So I've picked up Dragonbane. I've got I put a bid in for a Tales from the Loop on eBay. I've got Mutant Year Zero, Gen Lab Alpha. My son picked up The One Ring, 2nd edition. Forbidden Lands. Forbidden Lands, how could I forget that? That's the one that kicked it all off for me. And then there's your talk of Twilight 2000 as well. So some of the blame is coming your way. And then Musa for getting me involved in that Forbidden Lands game. Really enjoyed it. I'm just loving their stuff. Some companies that I've kind of enjoyed their games for a while, but the products never really, I couldn't really get excited about the quality. But Free League, I mean, I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. I look forward to hearing more and more and more and more and more. Anyway, thanks for all the recaps. I'm listening along as ever, and when you get this, it'll be coming up for Christmas, I guess. So I know it's not so massive in America, but I'm pretty sure you guys will be getting into it and having some fun and a few drinks and getting together with friends and family. So have a great time and take care. I'll catch you later.
Good to hear from you again, Colin. I imagine as the riffs from Baba O'Reilly start playing, here's Colin Green walking past a curtain down the center aisle and to the mic, like in a Wes Anderson movie, and then stepping to the mic and giving his call. I do like Free League stuff. I haven't played all of those that you mentioned, though I did pitch Gen Lab Alpha to my wife Amy. We've been looking for an anthropomorphic game to play, but they have Mutant Year Zero, the Gen Lab Alpha, the Mechatrons. You can play robots, Elysium, so you can play, not uplifted, pure strain humans, a term from Gamma World, the Grey Death, which is kind of a crossover adventure. Yeah, I usually do the Kickstarters for that. But I really like Twilight 2000. I think that was when I really fell in love with Free League, though I had gotten Tales from the Loop, which I have played, and I really do like. I really do like it. In fact, I got Jason Connerly to play it, and I think Arlen Walker played with me one time. We're back in the recaps. And Jason, while was not fond of the mechanic, did like a game, he said, and I quote, where we didn't have to kill anyone. So, a lot of action, but really no violence. It's more about investigation and problem solving. Maybe Vason is like that. I don't know. I'd like to get Vason to the table. That's another one I pitched to Amy. But we definitely, like I said, like Twilight 2000. We've really enjoyed The Walking Dead. I did like Forbidden Lands, again, which I followed and backed. And I'd like to get that to the table or play again with you and your brother and run by Kevin Madison. That would be really neat to do. So yeah, we do celebrate Christmas in America. It's unfortunate that is a perception that we don't get into it as much, but we definitely do. Maybe it might be a bit commercialized, or at least that's the promotion, but it is definitely a time for reflection, for family and friends, for getting together, having fun. The only thing I guess what does happen as well, especially, you have multiple obligations. And so we've already done one obligation going up to Dallas to see Amy's folks and exchanging gifts. So maybe it's like a month-long celebration. And then Christmas Eve we do with my folks. And then with friends, we have our Christmas Day dinner celebration with our good friends that we've been friends with for over a decade and a half maybe. We've been doing this Thanksgiving at their house, Christmas at our house. So yeah, it's really exciting. Be cool to do that and reflect and hang out with your family and friends. Presents are nice also, though. I like getting presents. But thank you again for the call, Colin. Good to hear from you. Don't be a stranger. And hopefully we can get to play again in a game, a mutual game. The next caller, like I mentioned, is a new caller. It is Merc the Meek. It's Merc. Does Merc the Meek podcast. And he's giving me a call saying hi. Merc, I do not have a theme song for you yet, but maybe one will come.
Hey, Carl, this is Merc. Just listened to your Elfland review. Now, is Elfland referring to the King of Elfland's daughter, or is that just coincidence? Just kind of curious about that. Also, I would have a really hard time with the whole Winnie the Pooh thing. I mean, to me, he represents all that is good and wholesome about childhood. So that would be a really tough one to go through, for me at least. But it does sound interesting, kind of incorporating this parallel Elfland world. And it definitely gets that vibe that like elves aren't all sweet and cutesy. So yeah, interesting stuff. Thanks for sharing. Take care.
Hi, Mark. Thanks for your call. Really enjoying your podcast, folks. If you haven't listened to Merc the Meek, you should check it out. Really cool podcast that has recently come out. And they're nice little snippets that you can listen to in one quick sitting. Really enjoyable and very informative. Lots of wisdom, lots of discussion of games. So to answer your question, Mark, yes, it is a reference to the King of Elfland's daughter, where Fae are not so nice and a little malevolent, mischievous tricksters. And actually, the Winnie the Pooh adventure is not, it's like you're rescuing the denizens of the 100-Acre Wood and trying to help Christopher Robin. So it's more like a rescue mission. You don't really fight the denizens of the 100-Acre Wood. You, like I said, you're rescuing them. I guess that's a little bit of a spoiler, but maybe that'll make it seem like, well, it's more of like trying to rescue your childhood as opposed to fighting against your childhood and making these creatures that we loved growing up reading or watching, if you watched the Disney versions, and loving. So I hope that helps. Again, thank you for the call, and I look forward to hearing from you more. Another box. This one is 9 3/8 by 12 and 4.5 inches deep. Also needs a box cutter because it's all taped up. And stuff is in it. Seems like multiple stuffs are in it. Maybe not. Oh, cool. Okay. Inside, this one I'll definitely make into a mini review. I actually saw this at the Dragon's Den the other day, and I was like, oh man, a Kickstarter. I wonder why it's not there yet, but it is now here. Swords and Chaos, a role-playing game. Hark you dogs of the underworld and heed my words before you lay the forces of savage barbarism, decadent civilization, and the warping tendrils of chaos itself. This tabletop role-playing game is your gateway to endless high adventure, featuring larger-than-life heroes, wickedly evil villains, and unrelenting action in an antediluvian age. This book has everything you need to play Swords and Chaos. So what is Swords and Chaos? Well, the role-playing game that all-in-one guide and rule system for a sword and sorcery role-playing game. It does have a kind of cool map it's called the Known World, and reminiscent of like a Pangea type continent, which is kind of cool. I like maps. It does have a dedication to the memory of Charles Saunders, whose absence is felt keenly by us all, as well as to Carl Edward Wagner and Robert E. Howard, both of whom left this world far too soon. So cool. So it's a class-based system: assassin, barbarian, fighter, knight, ranger, rogue, sorcerer. It's a level-based system. I see gaining levels. It uses the siege engine. So I guess this Trollord Games Castles and Crusades based, which is pretty cool. It's a Castles and Crusades Sword and Sorcery supplement in a way. So I'll have to take a look at this further. I'll move and like to connect sword and sorcery type game stuff. And yeah, this looks pretty good. It's very dense. The paper is glossy, thin, but very heavy. And it clocks in with the appendices at 304, 5, 6, 7, 8, 368 pages with a page for notes. But pretty nice. It looks very nice, and I can't wait to devour this and give you a review. All right, cool stuff. Talk to you soon. I guess when I think of sword and sorcery games, I think of heavy metal. So that was Metal Gods before the unboxing, which I did way back, I feel like in the spring. And yeah, so Siege Engine is the Castles and Crusades, and it pretty much runs like 3.0, 3.5. One of the major differences is when you do an attribute challenge. So kind of when something would elicit a challenge roll based on your attributes. And this game is human centric. So everyone has 3 primary attributes, one determined by your class, and then 2 others. So for example, an assassin, that's the first class that comes up here, I'm guessing it's going to be Dex. I bet you it's going to be Dex. So yes, their primary attribute is Dex, and then you would pick 2 others, and then the other 4 attributes, including Luck, are secondary attributes. So they do add another attribute as well, Luck, the measure of how fortunate you are. Luck is fleeting, and admittedly a bit of an abstract concept, so something that doesn't conform to anything else, right? Physical strength would be like climbing, Dex, your nimbleness, dodging or whatever, constitution, your hardiness, intelligence. So you'd use those kind of as saves or whatever sort of challenge the GM will throw your way. So I believe you also, ability score is also much like Castles and Crusades, -3 to +3, 18 being +3. And then you have something called a base to hit. As you go up in level, that adds to your hit as well when you attack. So most of the book, I will emphasize the map is pretty cool. It says J, the person who made the map. I'll kind of look at this. It says JB, or maybe JB21. So let me see if they give us a world map by Jacques Brogin. So I think it's a cool looking map. It is a map of like Eurasia looking like, but there's no Mediterranean Sea. The Sahara is kind of full of water. I think they're neat kind of places too. For example, in like what we know as Western Africa, there is Great Tamazga. There's Gondawani further south in the heart of Central Africa, and there's it looks like a Lemuria equivalent as well. Sea of Cyber, Lemurian Ocean. What is that? Huanjia. So touchstones of our real world. I guess it's sort of antediluvian, and like I will say, I do like a sword and sorcery. I think my preferred sword and sorcery right now is Reaver, but I wouldn't mind giving this one a try. And I also like the Conan world stuff, whether it's the 2D20 Adventures in an Age of Dreamed of, or the old 3.5 version. And then there's Barbarians of Lemuria, another fine sword and sorcery. They actually have a Savage Worlds product. I think it's called Vicious Barbarians or Savage Barbarians or something like that. Hold on. I was close. It is called Beasts and Barbarians. And that is another option for a sword and sorcery game. But this one, I don't know. This one, Again, I think I'm intrigued the most by the map. and want to fill it out or do things in it, either with this system or another. And I don't mind Castles and Crusades. I've played it before. I think Kevin Madison ran us a Dark Sun Castles and Crusades, or Castles and Crusades rules, but set in the Dark Sun world. And it was pretty cool. So anyway, that's just a mini review, quick review of the Swords and Chaos by Jeremy DeFarkas for there's some, yeah, I guess luck is like DCC, if that makes sense. I'm just reading here on the page, but distributed by or published by Blackspire Fantasy LLC. So pretty cool. Anyway, that'll be it for today, I believe. Not a very long episode. And if you have any comments or questions, you can leave me a message at geomologist@gmail.com. You can drop me a message in the Discord. I think I'm at Carl Rodriguez. And you can leave a SpeakPipe message for me. There's a link in the show notes. Finally, you can try to leave a message. I think people have been more successful lately leaving a message on Spotify for podcasters through the Spotify for Podcaster site. And I think that's it. TJ Drennan does the intro and outro music. My wife, Amy Lee, does the cover clip art. But today, I probably will put the Brian LeBlanc cover. You'll see the Brian LeBlanc cover art. And maybe a thumbnail with that and the cool map by Yog Brogzhin, however you pronounce that. Take care, good night, and good rolling.